Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to follow the events of episode 9. Previously. In the previous episode, Xu Ying used the Great Bell to severely injure Cheng Huang and Zhou Yihang before escaping. After realizing that the ancient demonic cultivation techniques Xu Ying had deciphered might be connected to the lost ancient immortal arts, both sides immediately joined forces to hunt him down. Episode 9. This discovery made Zhou Yihang realize just how important Xu Ying was. If the Zhou family could not obtain the secrets behind Xu Ying's understanding of the demonic techniques, they would rather destroy him than allow that knowledge to fall into the hands of the Netherworld Court or another powerful faction. Therefore, Zhou Yihang ordered Zhou Yang to inform Governor Zhou Xing and mobilize the Zhou family's strongest experts to hunt Xu Ying down. Meanwhile, Xu Ying had escaped into a mountain cave during a heavy rainstorm. The downpour temporarily prevented his pursuers from tracking him. Inside the cave, the injured snake demon Rui Qi was resting beside a fire while Xu Ying took shelter in the home of a black bear demon named Shang Tianli. Xu Ying tried to reassure the bear that he was only taking shelter from the rain and would leave soon. However, Shang Tianli immediately reminded him that Xu Ying had previously taken his cultivation manual, promising to return it after reading it. The problem was that Xu Ying still had not finished reading it. It turned out that Xu Ying had been a snake catcher in Lingling since he was young. He often traveled through the mountains searching for strange and powerful snakes, which naturally brought him into contact with many demons. Because Xu Ying had practiced the Supreme Unity Guidance technique for many years, his physical strength and blood energy were extraordinarily powerful. Most ordinary demons were no match for him. As a result, Xu Ying had fought with many demons throughout the mountains. After defeating them, he would borrow, or more accurately, force them to hand over their cultivation manuals so he could study them and find a way to advance beyond his current cultivation level. Shang Tianli was unfortunately one of his victims. Rui Qi was hungry and jokingly suggested eating Shang Tianli, immediately terrifying the black bear. Xu Ying quickly denied that they would eat him, although his stomach betrayed him by loudly growling. After searching the cave, Xu Ying found nothing except some old books, cooking utensils, and sweet potatoes and root vegetables that Shang Tianli had grown himself. With no better food available, the group had no choice but to roast the vegetables over the fire. At first, Shang Tianli was still terrified of Xu Ying. However, he and Rui Qi gradually became closer after discovering that they had both suffered from Xu Ying's frightening methods of obtaining cultivation manuals. The two demons secretly complained that Xu Ying was basically a complete tyrant. After preparing the medicine, Xu Ying treated Rui Qi's injuries and then treated his own wounds. Since the heavy rain had temporarily stopped the pursuit, Xu Ying decided to teach Rui Qi and Shang Tianli the inner observation technique that the Great Bell had taught him. He explained how to open the Shi Yi domain, observe the internal organs, sense the 5 Qi, and cultivate toward the 5 Qi returning to origin realm. Once the 5 Qi were gathered and transformed into primordial energy, a demon could greatly increase its cultivation and potentially become a demon king. Rui Qi was a strange and exceptionally talented snake demon. Because of his excellent natural abilities, he quickly understood Xu Ying's teachings and entered meditation. Shang Tianli, on the other hand, was not as clever and needed much more time to comprehend the technique. Xu Ying then entered his own Shi Yi domain to heal his injuries and investigate the mysteries hidden inside his body. Inside the Shi Yi domain, Xu Ying discovered an extraordinary world. Primordial energy flowed through the sky like enormous rivers. His heart and lungs appeared like gigantic mountains hanging upside down. The 5 Qi flowed downward like waterfalls, eventually gathering into primordial energy. The primordial energy could transform into rain when struck by lightning, or gather into blazing suns that illuminated the mountains and organs within his body. While exploring this mysterious world, Xu Ying remembered that the Great Bell had once criticized him for focusing only on gathering energy while neglecting inner observation and visualization. Unfortunately, the Great Bell was still unconscious after its battle against Cheng Huang and Zhou Yihang, so Xu Ying could not ask it for guidance. Then, something unexpected happened. As lightning flashed through his body, Xu Ying suddenly noticed a huge area of darkness that he had never seen before. Whenever lightning illuminated the darkness, he could vaguely see enormous mountain ranges stretching like gigantic dragons. He also saw a vast river or heavenly river rushing from the horizon. Most importantly, standing between the mountains and the river was an enormous black gate. The gate looked like a mysterious barrier separating two completely different worlds. Xu Ying became extremely curious and attempted to approach it. However, the closer he got to the darkness, the more unstable his spiritual consciousness became. Even though he sensed the danger, Xu Ying continued moving forward. Eventually, his spiritual consciousness completely collapsed. Xu Ying immediately awakened from his inner observation state, collapsed to the ground, and lost consciousness. While unconscious, he experienced countless terrifying and bizarre nightmares. But when he finally woke up, he could not remember any of them. His head was in unbearable pain, as if an axe had been driven into the left side of his skull. Rui Qi and Shang Tianli were extremely worried after seeing Xu Ying suddenly collapse. When he finally regained consciousness, the two demons were relieved. They even happily announced that while Xu Ying had been unconscious, they had talked for a long time and discovered that they had a lot in common. The two had even sworn brotherhood. Rui Qi became the elder brother, while Shang Tianli became the younger brother. But Xu Ying soon revealed the most important discovery. He told them that inside the Shi Yi domain, he believed he had seen the mysterious gate leading from the Qi gathering realm to the next cultivation realm. For a long time, Xu Ying had reached the peak of his cultivation but could not find a way forward. His blood energy had already reached the point where it was ready to break through. But he had never been able to find the barrier he needed to overcome. Now, through inner observation, he had finally seen it. A huge black gate hidden deep within the darkness. Xu Ying could clearly sense that beyond that gate was another vast world, a completely new realm of cultivation. Rui Qi and Shang Tianli were overwhelmed with excitement. For the entire demon race, this discovery was enormously significant. Demons had always been limited to the Qi gathering realm. At most, they could become demon kings, but beyond that, there seemed to be no path forward. If Xu Ying had truly discovered the next realm, then the entire demon race might finally be able to break through the cultivation barrier that had trapped them for countless generations. Rui Qi was so excited that he nearly cried. The two demons began shouting that the demon race would finally rise again. However, Xu Ying did not get carried away. He noticed something strange. Neither Rui Qi nor Shang Tianli had successfully opened their Shi Yi domains, even though they practiced demonic cultivation techniques. Yet Xu Ying, a human, had managed to enter the Shi Yi domain. This made Xu Ying question the very origin of demonic cultivation. Perhaps these so-called demonic techniques were never actually created for demons. Xu Ying remembered the Great Bell saying that demonic cultivation techniques might actually originate from the ancient Qi refiners. Therefore, Xu Ying suspected that the techniques currently used by demons might actually be remnants of ancient human cultivation methods that had been lost or distorted over time. This could explain why Xu Ying, despite being human, was able to use them and access the Shi Yi domain. Rui Qi and Shang Tianli had a completely different theory. They jokingly claimed that Xu Ying might actually be a demon who simply looked like a human. They even joked that one day Xu Ying would reveal his true form. Xu Ying could only helplessly ignore the two excited demons. After the rain stopped, Xu Ying stepped outside and seriously reflected on his cultivation path. He realized that human Na masters followed a completely different system. Na masters used techniques such as dragon finding and position determination to locate hidden treasures within the human body. They then opened those hidden realms and cultivated their power into hidden realms. Qi refiners, however, followed another path. They gathered energy, refined Qi, and attempted to break through the human profound gate. These two cultivation systems appeared to have almost nothing in common. This left Xu Ying wondering why the so-called demonic techniques seemed to resemble the ancient cultivation methods of Qi refiners. Xu Ying also noticed that his body was recovering much faster than before. After achieving the 5 Qi returning to origin, he could transform the 5 Qi into primordial energy, greatly improving his recovery ability. In the past, an injury like the one on his shoulder might have required several months to heal. Now, his recovery was dramatically faster. Still, Xu Ying could not help but admire Zhou Yihang's terrifying regeneration ability. The Zhou family's Niwan hidden treasure gave the body an almost unbelievable level of vitality. If Xu Ying could discover his own Niwan hidden treasure, his recovery ability could potentially reach an entirely different level. Unfortunately, he still did not know how to use dragon finding techniques to locate his own Niwan hidden treasure. But an even greater question troubled him. Was he really human? Xu Ying repeatedly reminded himself that he had to be human. He remembered having parents in a hometown. However, there was something deeply strange about his memories. Ruichi suddenly realized that the information Xu Ying had just mentioned was completely different from what Xu Ying had told them in the past. The names of his parents had changed. His hometown had changed. Even the place where he claimed to have lived was different. The two demons assumed that Xu Ying must have damaged his brain after fainting. But this strange change in his memories made Xu Ying's true identity even more mysterious. At that moment, Xu Ying discovered something even more terrifying. The River of Forgetfulness, or Nehi River, was appearing in the human world once again. This river, which belonged to the Netherworld, had suddenly appeared between Zhaoshan Mountain and Wuwang Mountain. And it was not only the river. The embankments, mountains, and other landscapes of the Netherworld were also being dragged into the human world. Massive mountains suddenly appeared around the Nehi River, forcing the original mountains of Lingling to move backward. The landscape had been displaced by more than 30 miles. Ruichi was furious because his home had effectively been pushed far away from its original location. He even complained that there were so many powerful Na Masters among humans. Yet none of them seemed to be doing anything to stop the invasion of the Netherworld. Xu Ying was also deeply concerned. Nobody knew what terrifying creatures might be hiding within those newly appeared Netherworld mountains. Even with his current strength, charging directly into the Netherworld could still cost him his life. Meanwhile, the pursuing gods had already begun searching the mountains for Xu Ying. Xu Ying realized that he could no longer remain hidden. He immediately decided to fight his way out. To avoid making noise, he carried the great bell in his left hand instead of dragging it along the ground. He suddenly appeared in front of a hand-eye god. The god immediately sensed danger and attempted to use the eyes in his palms to illuminate Xu Ying. But he was too late. Xu Ying struck him directly in the chest with a devastating punch. The force tore through the god's entire body. His divine body was destroyed, and even his divine soul was shattered by the thunderous power contained within Xu Ying's fist. Xu Ying then immediately targeted the Yang'an Town god, who was flying through the sky. Because the Yang'an Town god possessed wings, he had the advantage of aerial mobility. He also transformed his incense power into flying swords and attempted to keep Xu Ying at a distance. But Xu Ying unleashed the Elephant King divine body together with the Elephant Force Bull Demon Fist. The air around his fist was violently compressed, creating an effect similar to a vacuum. The Yang'an Town god could no longer escape. Xu Ying's punch smashed through the incense-powered flying swords and directly destroyed the god's head. The Yang'an Town god's body fell from the sky. Xu Ying immediately continued running. Ruichi also joined the battle, providing support from the ground. The two fought while retreating, destroying every god that attempted to block their path. Ruichi had also cultivated the Elephant Force Bull Demon Fist to the peak of its 5th level. Because he was a snake demon, he could not use the technique like a human. Instead, he used his tail to perform his attacks. His white elephant swinging trunk technique was especially terrifying. The tip of his tail could move faster than sound, allowing him to defeat many opponents with a single strike. If Ruichi failed to kill an enemy immediately, Xu Ying would follow up with another attack. The two gradually developed excellent teamwork. After fighting their way through more than 10 miles of pursuit, Xu Ying and Ruichi finally managed to shake off the enemy. However, both had suffered additional injuries. They had now entered the left bank of the Nehi River, deep inside the mountains of the Netherworld. Here, even sunlight felt cold and lifeless. Xu Ying and Ruichi discovered that they could no longer safely cultivate with the guidance technique. The energy in this place was cold and chaotic. If they absorbed it, their blood might actually freeze, and their bodies could suffer serious damage instead of becoming stronger. The mountains of the Netherworld were dark, gloomy, and terrifying. Black, sticky liquid flowed down some of the cliffs, while an ominous atmosphere filled the surrounding area. Xu Ying continued forward with the great bell in his hand. Soon, he discovered a strange road made entirely from countless white bones. Following the bone-covered path, he saw a mysterious house at the end. Its walls were built from bones. Human skin was hung as flags. Skulls were used as decorations. The cold wind blew through the human skin banners. And written clearly on one of those banners were 2 words. Tavern. Xu Ying and Ruichi stared at the strange tavern in the middle of the Netherworld. Neither of them knew what terrifying existence was waiting for them inside. And with that, episode 9 comes to an end. If you enjoyed the episode, Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the latest developments in the next episode. See you in episode 10.